When it comes to distilled alcohol in Maryland, it's best known for its rye and corn whiskey. But on this week's The Local Buy, Al lends a hand at a distillery where the fruits of their labor are in every bottle. Al?
You know, I think brandy gets a bad rap. A lot of people think it's the stepchild of the spirits world, the kind of thing that old men drink in smoke-filled rooms. But when I think of brandy, I think of the rolling hills of Normandy. I think of autumn fruit harvest. But I don't think of this.
This is Hyattsville, Maryland, just 2 miles northeast of D.C. It's a diverse and welcoming community that may not have France's rolling hills, but it does share its joie de vivre.
Well, this is Hyattsville, Maryland's Arts District, which is a perfect spot for Froid Distillery. It's a small artisan distillery that specializes in locally sourced Dutch gin, rye whiskey, and my favorite, brandy.
Today I'm meeting co-owner Jeff Harner, who's taking a break from processing this season's pears for brandy.
Now, you've opened this place in 2018.
Correct.
But you had to be interested in brandies before that, I'm guessing.
That's true. So the spark for this came from about 2011, 2012, when I had my first bottle of French apple brandy, Calvados. And that's about when I started getting interested in grafting our own varieties of apples, after learning that most of the commercial orchards in the United States aren't growing the types of apples that make good cider and good brandy. And so what we have here is a collection of some of the apples that we've grafted ourselves from our orchard. They're not pretty, but apples made for brandy generally aren't that good looking.
But Jeff's Alleghany County orchard, where those apples grow, along Martin's Mountain ridgeline, gives those rolling French hills a run for their money.
So when we were researching where we wanted to build our orchard, we found that Western Maryland has a long history of apple growing. And so when we found a property, we found out that there was actually, at one point, over 5,000 acres of orchards in this part of Maryland. And when apples are kind of left to their own devices, they tend to go feral and go wild.
In 2017, when Jeff purchased the abandoned orchard, there was more wild than orchard.
Now, you have a big job in kind of rebuilding this orchard. Man, how's that going?
It's a lot of work.
Yes, a lot of hard work. But perhaps more important is
patience. So the saying about apple trees is the best time to plant them is 10 years ago. The next best time is 10 years and 1 day less. So we're going to be waiting a while until these trees reach maturity. And in the meantime, we'll still keep gathering apples from the existing trees that are on the orchard. And so in 10, 15, or 20 years, we'll hopefully be a 100% estate-grown brandy producer.
In the meantime, they're pulling in fruit from local providers.
Look at this.
And here is about 2,000 pounds of pears that we processed last week.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So after these are fully fermented, we will pump that pear wine into these stills. And then distillation is a very simple process. We're just gently heating that wine to separate the alcohol from the pear.
These beautiful copper stills will heat the fermented pears, distilling the alcohol into vapor, then condensing it back into a concentrated spirit. The whole process takes about 45 days.
Our goal is to capture that brightness and freshness of the pear when it's at its peak ripeness.
Well, I would sure like to try a little just to
But you'd never ask.
test. I'm back in France. That is really stunning.
Thanks.
Really stunning. And it is very complex. I'm not surprised you've got a bunch of different things going into the blend.
Yeah. Every year's harvest is a little bit different in terms of the proportions of the apples. In fact, this year was a very poor harvest. Apples tend to be biennial bearing, so one year they'll be very heavy, the next year they'll be less heavy in terms of the amount of fruit that's on the tree. So this was a down year.
Yeah, oh well. But you have the pears.
We did,
Okay.
yep.
Good. Now you got all this distilling equipment in the back. That's good for other things other than brandy.
That's right, we're also making grain spirits, so we do some whiskeys as well as some Dutch-style gins.
Oh, nice. That's kind of small back there. Do you ever get the temptation to expand a little bit?
Yes, we've been capacity limited from day one, and we recently purchased a property in Tacoma Park that will be able to expand our production in.
Oh, great. I'm sure it's going to be really popular because your product is excellent. And I think a lot of people are going to want to come here. We're going to put all sorts of information on our website at mpt.org/farm so you can learn more about it. For the Local Buy, I'm Al Spoler. Joanne?
Thanks, Al. Be sure to check out mpt.org/farm for all our recipes and resources. Plus, you can watch all Farm and Harvest episodes there as well. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media for show updates, pictures, and videos.